California. Now, if you want a long-term investment opportunity, and Southern California is going to pay off, I think, wildly, you go buy in Sugarloaf, California. Sugarloaf is right next to Big Bear. It's up in the mountains in San Bernardino County. It's a beautiful place. It's got the Angeles National Forest backed up against it, and currently it's undervalued. You can get a home up there for about $100,000. Highly recommend that as a long-term Southern California real estate investment. The medium-term investment, if you have the money, you want to avoid San Gabriel Valley, where I am right now. I think that there's a little bit more room in the market, maybe another 10, 20% growth in the real estate prices here, and then it's going to tap out because an important thing to consider, China recently has made some adjustments to their currency rules as to how much money you can take out of China. And Southern California's real estate market is substantially impacted by Chinese nationals from the PRC and Taiwanese nationals as well, mostly PRC people, some Hong Kongese as well. But they'll come over here in Southern California where my parents live in Arcadia and plop down $10 million for a super mansion that a contractor comes in, buys the house for $1 million, knocks it down, builds a ridiculously oversized mansion on the lot and sells it for $10 million to people from China. However, as of like 4 months ago, things have taken a dip there because of the currency changes. However, I just read an article yesterday that suggests that the people figure a way around about that shit, and there's always about a period of about a year until the people figure out how to get around it, and then it goes back to the way it was. So that's, if you're looking for an investment that's medium long term, you might still go here, but probably you're looking for someplace else. So Southern California, areas that are possible but risky, there are the gentrifying areas. So like if you go down to what's called Frogtown would be a good place to buy. It's kind of ghetto-y and kind of Mexican gangy right now, but it's next to and close to Silver Lake and those areas which have gentrified already. So that would be a good place to buy too. And that's my thoughts on Southern California real estate.
That's interesting. I'm not anywhere near Southern California, and I have probably Southern California, I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of return you would expect on the areas you mentioned.
I'd expect Sugarloaf prices to go up by 3 times within the next 5 years, 10 years, because I just feel it. It's ENTP instincts.
That doesn't seem like a good reason to me.
Well, I gave you a lot of other reasons though too, including the fact that you've got a national forest back up against you. So the development ends at the border of the mountain, and it's on the mountain. It's like it's contained geographically. You can't expand it beyond a certain point in Sugarloaf. It's the empty spots have sort of been bought up already, and you'll never have to worry about the view of the national forest or the access to natural wilderness areas being developed because it's owned by the federal government. So it's already the vacation prices, the cost of renting for a vacation up there have gone up in the last 4 or 5 years by a good amount because we used to vacation up there.
So a lot of the market in that area is for vacation rentals, you would think, and not people that want to live there full time.
Well, see, that's the thing. Now, yes, that's true currently, but population pressures continue to grow in Los Angeles, and people continue to be able to work more remotely. So people who work in LA and have to go down to LA a couple days a week, that becomes increasingly a viable option. As technology moves towards less centralization geographically, and yet people still want to be in Southern California, there's a lot of metaphysical reasons to think that this is probably the case. There's a lot of actual data in terms of rising prices and stuff to think it's actually the case. And there's a physical geographical reason to believe it's a uniquely valuable spot.
So you're thinking that this is in the 30 to 50 years range for that kind of development? You're expecting the area to explode.
No, I expect Sugarloaf, which is a very small geographical area with limited ability to get more population in there at all. I expect property values, as people understand that that's kind of perfect in a lot of ways. I want to move there. It's kind of perfect because you're up in the mountains, it's cool and stuff. If somebody like me who could structure a schedule, I only have to be down here a couple days a week, that's very doable. And for all the reasons I said, I believe that particular spot in Southern California, demand's going to go up, but supply is not going to go up. And so within 5 to 10 years, it's going to be about 3 times as valuable as it is today. That's what I
5
believe
to
to
10
be.
years?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I said. Because it's fundamentally the engine behind it is not one thing. It's a composite of factors, all of which contribute to the belief that Sugarloaf is going to become, the property of Sugarloaf will become 3 times as valuable within 10 years.
And you would cash flow such an investment as a vacation rental in the meantime.
Right. So you don't have to live there right away for it to make sense. If you have the liquidity to buy the $100,000 house, then it would actually be a revenue stream if you can get rental income greater than property taxes, which seems reasonably, and property maintenance, which seems easy enough. But you'd have to have the liquidity to throw down $100,000 in cash for that to work.
It's a very different type of investment than the ones I typically contemplate, which are based on the value of an asset in terms of its income producing potential, not in terms of its likelihood of appreciation in the future. Which isn't to say that those things are wrong. Maybe that is, if you were going to invest in the Southern California area, because property values are very high compared to other parts of the country, it's very, very hard to get income producing assets that return very well. A lot of income producing assets won't even do much better than index funds on the stock market, depending on how wisely you invest there.
Oh yeah, so I agree with you. I agree that's not a good way to invest. Is rent. Being a landlord is not very profitable. My parents, but it is profitable if you have a lot of properties. But my parents are landlords and as well as invest. They're smart like that. I'm stupid like that. So I don't know. I've got this thing, but it just costs me money. I don't know does it have earning potential? This thing probably does have some earning potential. I'm trying to make it pay me some money a little bit, but right now,
what do you mean this thing?
Talking with famous people platform, which is basically the idea that makes it distinct, and it's a small, different idea. It's not anything revolutionary or whatever. Is that these rooms, room 1, room 2, are open all the time. They're automatically recording all the time, and they're automatically publishing in 15-minute chunks to the Talking with Famous People Raw channel. So all these conversations that everybody comes in here and has, they're part of their life, right? It's kind of like an SI thing, and they have now a record of these conversations, and this part of their life. And my thinking is the long tail stuff. Like as I build up and increasing, because it publishes 48 hours of video every day, and so I think long tail shit. Like I'm building up a archive of people's lives, moments from people's lives and stuff that then they might want a reference later, where their kids want to see their mom when they were younger or something like that. Somehow that's going to make money, or I don't know. It's just a fun project. I would like it to make money, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know really how to do shit like that. I don't like doing shit like that, I should say. I'd rather just be play all the time.
Do you monetize the videos currently?
Yeah, they're monetized.
And how much do they make?
Well,
I assume it's nothing. But
right, on the main channel, I make $50 to $60 a month in ad revenue. On the Raw channel, I basically don't make any money on ad revenue, and so yeah, they're monetized, but I don't expect that to be. I don't expect that to make up the cost of it, because this is a fairly, it's not so huge, but it's a decent tech expense. I pay $300 a month for all the tech involved in setting up these bots and these rooms and the servers and all the shit that it takes to do the Talking with Famous People Raw channel idea. I think it's worth it just because I like the idea and it's an important part of my identity. But it's to even break even, I have to start selling more shit in the marketplace. I got a marketplace set up. I got a Patreon. I just set up Patreon like 2 days ago. And I'm trying to. My goal is basically to make enough money that this is break even for me. Do you have any thoughts on that stuff? I mean, you sound like you know about money and shit like that. So if you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. Because obviously I'm not doing a very good job of thinking about it.
I mean, I think that what you said is right. That the raw channel is, if you want, you're trying to store all of that stuff. Like if you,
it is being stored by YouTube. I mean,
it's being stored by, okay, and then it eventually clears the data off of, like, you have, I don't know, a couple terabyte hard drives that store, and then it dumps to YouTube constantly.
Yeah, it's constantly cutting the videos into 15-minute chunks, putting it on YouTube, then deleting that chunk from the server.
And so how is this costing you $300 a month?
Well, because it costs me the cost of the two. Each room has to have its own server. Okay. Also, I hired a tech guy to build all this shit for me, right? And he built it pretty cheap. And then some of the costs right now, I have to cancel GTM. This saves me money. Using this thing instead of GoToMeeting saves me some money. So the cost may go down a little bit or something. But it's basically I'm paying him. He does a lot of work too. He puts in a lot of hours. I know he does because I'm constantly telling him this thing's fucked up or I want that different or whatever. And it's worth it. It's a fair price to pay.
You need your own web service that does this rather than paying a third party, like whatever this is, appear.in. Like if you pay these guys to keep this meeting room up constantly, that's the main expense, right?
No, that's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay, sorry.
Like this bot here, the thing here that says raw room, right? That bot is on a server that I pay for that's outside of YouTube or Appear.in. And what that bot does is it records everything in this room using recording software. And then on the server, then it runs a macro that cuts the things it records in 15-minute chunks. Then it publishes those 15-minute chunks with another macro to the Talking People Raw channel. And then it names them, and it's eventually going to put them in playlists and shit. We don't quite have that stuff down. But like that's what Tiffany's doing. That's the work he's doing. Is I'm telling him I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, and he's putting it all together. That's why I'm paying him $300 a month. Now, some of that is for actual tech costs, and some of that is because he's working for me. I have other employees too, you know?
So most of your cost is actually in paying your guy to...
Yeah, most of the cost is in paying him. And I don't pay him enough. I should pay him more, but it's already cost me a shitload of money. And
but those are not costs that are going to recur indefinitely, right? Eventually
Eventually it should be set up perfectly, but even then, I'm still going to need to have a tech guy on call because it'll be set up perfectly, but then it'll be like, I wish we had this functionality, you know? This is how I'm paying for it all is my debate business. I'm the owner of Autonomy Debate School. And so this actually makes money, and it lets me afford this.
How much money does your debate school make a year?
Enough that I could sustain this level of cost indefinitely without being too concerned about it if I needed to. But I don't want to specifically say, I guess. It's considered in bad form, I guess.
I'm surprised. Most people don't like to talk about how much money they make. I'm just a little bit surprised that you come here with this level of inviting openness and then don't divulge that information.
In fact,
but it's okay. I'm not asking you to divulge something you're not comfortable with.
But hold on. The reason I'm not divulging it is because I'm actually in the process of making a decision about it. I've considered putting all my finances public and making videos and saying, this is how much money I have, this is how much money I've got coming in, this is what, just all my books as a YouTube project. And if I do that, then you'll have a clear, distinct answer to this. And, you'll see, oh, he's getting by. His expenses are low. His business doesn't make that much money, but it makes pretty good money. It's growing. It's whatever. It's I don't even care. I just want exactly as much money as I need to do whatever I want, which is I have fairly low expense wants.